Stockholm is supposed to be enjoying the endless light of summer. But beneath the bright skies, something terrifying is beginning. It starts with a strange 911 call. A woman reports a possible home invasion at a summer house in the Stockholm archipelago. 2 police officers are sent to investigate. When they arrive, the house appears strangely quiet. There is no obvious suspect. No screaming. No struggle that immediately explains what happened. And no one appears to be inside. The officers enter the property, not knowing that they are walking directly into a trap. But the next day, both officers are dead. Their deaths are brutal, and the case immediately sends shockwaves through Stockholm's police force. At first, investigators struggle to understand why these 2 officers were targeted. Was it a personal revenge attack? Was it connected to their work? Or was someone deliberately hunting police officers? Then another terrifying discovery changes everything. The murders don't appear to be isolated. Someone is targeting members of the police, and the killer seems to know exactly how to reach them. The investigation is assigned to Thomas Berg. Thomas is a respected detective, calm, intelligent, determined. But this case is unlike anything he has handled before. The killer isn't simply trying to escape detection. The killer appears to be sending a message. Every murder creates more fear inside the police force. Officers begin wondering who will be next. And Thomas realizes that the killer may already know more about the police than they should. That is when Thomas makes a decision he has spent years avoiding. He turns to his father, Alfred Berg. Alfred was once a respected detective himself. But those days are long gone. He is now retired, disgraced, and emotionally distant from his son. Thomas and Alfred have a complicated history. They haven't simply grown apart. They have spent years carrying anger, disappointment, and unresolved pain. Thomas doesn't want his father's help, but he needs it. Because Alfred understands criminals in a way few people do. He knows how investigators think. He knows how killers manipulate police departments. And he knows what happens when an investigation becomes personal. When Thomas approaches him, Alfred initially refuses. He doesn't want to return to the world he left behind. But then he hears the details of the murders, and something about the case catches his attention. Alfred agrees to help, but working together proves much harder than either man expected. Thomas wants to follow procedure. Alfred trusts instinct. Thomas believes evidence should lead the investigation. Alfred believes investigators must understand the person behind the crime. Their methods constantly clash, but slowly, the differences begin revealing something important. The killer is not choosing victims randomly. There is a pattern, and the pattern may go back years. Thomas and Alfred begin digging into old cases. Cases involving police officers. Cases that were closed. Cases that were forgotten. And cases where the truth may never have been discovered. The deeper they investigate, the darker the story becomes. Someone appears to be using old secrets to create new murders. And the killer may have a personal connection to the police. Meanwhile, the pressure inside the department continues to rise. Every officer knows the killer could strike again. Some begin questioning their colleagues. Others start questioning their commanders. And Thomas realizes that fear itself may be part of the killer's plan. The killer wants the police divided, because a divided police force is easier to manipulate. Thomas becomes becomes obsessed with finding the next target before it is too late. But Alfred notices something Thomas doesn't. The killer isn't simply attacking police officers. The killer is choosing people connected to a particular history, and that history may involve Alfred himself. Thomas is forced to confront an uncomfortable possibility. His father's past could hold the key to the entire investigation. Alfred refuses to explain everything. He keeps certain details hidden. Thomas becomes frustrated. Why would his father withhold information when people's lives are at stake? The relationship begins falling apart again. Thomas accuses Alfred of protecting someone. Alfred insists that some truths are dangerous when revealed at the wrong time. But Thomas doesn't want excuses. He wants answers. Then another police officer is attacked. The killer has struck again, and this time, the message is impossible to ignore. Thomas realizes the killer's getting closer, not just to the police, but to him. The investigation becomes personal. Thomas begins receiving clues that appear designed specifically for him. The killer knows his name, knows his work, and may know his family.
Thomas is beginning to realize that this case is much bigger than he first imagined. The killer isn't simply murdering police officers. There is a pattern behind every attack. And somehow that pattern appears to connect with the police department itself. As Thomas digs deeper, the pressure around him continues to grow. Every officer is now a potential target. Every phone call could be a warning. And every unexplained detail could be the clue that finally exposes the killer. But Thomas has another problem. His father, Alfred. Alfred may be one of the few people capable of understanding the killer's methods. But working with him is almost unbearable for Thomas. Their relationship has been broken for years. Thomas doesn't trust his father's judgment. And Alfred doesn't exactly make things easier. Instead of comforting his son, the retired detective immediately begins questioning the investigation. He notices things that Thomas and the other officers have overlooked. The killer isn't acting randomly. The murders seem carefully planned, and the victims may have been selected long before they were killed. This discovery changes everything. Because if Alfred is right, the killer could already have a list of future victims. Thomas realizes they cannot simply wait for another body to appear. They have to find the killer before the next attack. So the father and son begin retracing the evidence. They examine the locations. They study the victims. They look for connections between officers who seemingly have nothing in common. But the deeper they go, the stranger the case becomes. Meanwhile, fear begins spreading through the police force. Officers who once felt protected by their badges now realize that their uniforms may actually be making them targets. And Thomas starts wondering whether someone inside the system is helping the killer. Then another disturbing clue appears. Something from the past seems to connect several of the victims. But discovering that connection comes at a cost. Because Alfred recognizes the pattern. He has seen something similar before. And suddenly, the investigation becomes personal. Thomas wants answers. But Alfred knows that some answers are dangerous. He warns Thomas not to trust everyone around him. Thomas refuses to back down. He believes
that if they stop now, more officers will die. But Alfred knows his son is getting dangerously close to the truth, and the killer seems to know it too. As the investigation continues, Thomas begins receiving signs that someone is watching him. At first, he thinks it's paranoia. Then he notices the same strange presence appearing around different locations. Someone knows where he is going. Someone knows what he is investigating. And someone wants him to stop. But Thomas refuses. For the first time, father and son are forced to work together. Not because they have forgiven each other, but because they both understand what is at stake. The killer is still out there. The police are still being hunted. And the next victim could be anyone. But then Thomas discovers something that completely changes the direction of the investigation. The murders may not be about revenge at all. They may be connected to an old secret. A secret involving people inside the police force. And if that secret is exposed, it could destroy careers, families, and the entire investigation. Thomas realizes that the killer isn't simply hiding from the police. The killer may have been hiding in plain sight, and now Thomas and Alfred are no longer just hunting a murderer. They are hunting someone who knows exactly how the police think. Someone who understands their procedures. Someone who knows their weaknesses. And someone who may know Thomas better than he realizes. The question is, how many officers will die before Thomas discovers the truth? And when he finally finds the person responsible, will he be ready for what that truth reveals? Because in Stockholm, the summer sun may refuse to disappear, but the darkness surrounding this case is only getting deeper.
Thomas has spent his entire career believing that every crime leaves a trail. A fingerprint, a witness, a mistake, something. But this killer is different. Every murder seems carefully calculated, and the more Thomas investigates, the more he realizes that the killer may understand the police better than the police understand themselves. Alfred has already warned him. They're looking in the wrong direction. And now Thomas is beginning to believe him. The investigation turns toward the past. Old cases are reopened. Former officers are questioned. Names that have been forgotten for years suddenly become important again. But Alfred refuses to explain everything he knows. Thomas notices it immediately. His father isn't simply helping with the investigation. He's hiding something. And that secret may be connected to the murders. Thomas confronts him. For a moment, Alfred says nothing. Then he finally admits that there were cases during his time as a detective that were never properly resolved. Cases involving police officers. Cases that disappeared into the system. Thomas wants details. Alfred gives him only one warning. Some truths were buried for a reason. But Thomas refuses to accept that. 2 officers are already dead. More people could be next. And if the killer is taking revenge for something that happened years ago, then stopping the murders means discovering exactly what happened back then. Meanwhile, the police force is becoming increasingly desperate. Officers are afraid to work alone. Patrol routes are changed. Security is increased. But none of it seems to matter. The killer always appears to be one step ahead. Then another attack happens. And this time, Thomas notices something different. The killer has left a message. Not a random message. A message designed specifically for the police. It tells Thomas that the murders are not finished. They are only the beginning. Thomas studies every word, and Alfred immediately recognizes the meaning. The killer isn't simply threatening them. The killer is challenging them. It's almost as if someone wants Thomas to keep investigating. As if the killer wants to be found. Thomas begins asking himself the most disturbing question yet. What if the murders are not meant to hide the killer? What if they're meant to expose someone else? That possibility changes everything. Thomas and Alfred start examining the victims from another angle. Instead of asking why they were killed, they ask what all of them knew. The answer leads them toward an old connection. A connection involving officers who worked together years ago. Some are still alive, others are gone, and some have disappeared from police records completely. Thomas realizes that someone has been erasing pieces of the past. But who? And why? Then Alfred makes a shocking discovery. One of the names connected to the old cases is much closer to Thomas than he expected. Thomas doesn't want to believe it. He searches the records himself, and what he finds leaves him speechless. His own family may have been connected to the case. Suddenly, Alfred's strange behavior makes sense. His father wasn't refusing to talk because he didn't remember. He was refusing to talk because he remembered everything. Thomas demands the truth. Alfred finally opens up about the years when his career began to collapse. He tells Thomas about mistakes that were made, people who were protected, evidence that was ignored, and a case that should have destroyed several powerful people, but never did. Thomas realizes the murders may be revenge for that forgotten case, but there is still one question: who survived? Before they can answer it, Thomas receives another call. Another officer has been targeted, and this time the victim isn't just another name on a list. It's someone Thomas knows personally. He races to the scene, but he's too late. The killer has already disappeared, and once again, there is a message waiting for him. Thomas reads it. His expression changes, because this time the message isn't for the police, it's for him. The killer knows about Alfred. The killer knows about their family, and somehow the killer knows exactly where Thomas will look next. Thomas finally understands the terrifying truth. This investigation isn't being controlled by the police. It's being controlled by the killer, and Thomas has been following the trail exactly as the killer intended. Alfred tells him to stop. Thomas refuses. He knows stopping now could mean more deaths. But Alfred isn't afraid of the killer. He's afraid of what Thomas is about to discover, because the past they have been chasing may not belong to someone else. It may belong to Alfred himself. Thomas notices it immediately. His father isn't simply helping with the investigation. He's hiding something. Investigation turns toward the past. Old cases are reopened. Former officers are questioned. Names that have been forgotten for years suddenly become important again. But Alfred refuses to explain everything he knows. Thomas notices it immediately. His father isn't afraid of the killer. He's afraid of what Thomas is about to discover, because the past they have been chasing may not belong to someone
investigation. He's hiding something, and that secret may be connected to the murders. Thomas confronts him. For a moment, Alfred says nothing. Then he finally admits that there were cases during his time as a detective that were never properly resolved. Cases involving police officers, cases that disappeared into the system. Thomas notices it immediately. His father isn't simply helping with the investigation. He's hiding something, and that secret may be